I'd like to start this talk by saying thank you, God, for all the blessings, the wonderful day, the precious daily gift of life. May gid nga adlaw sa atong tanan. Of course, I'd like to express my gratitude to all the attendees and participants who have actually imparted their valuable time to be with us. I wouldn't say that this is a task given to me, but rather an opportunity and privilege that I will treasure forever. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak before you this morning. 20 minutes of talk, 20 minutes of sharing and letting you see the topic from my own eyes. I want you to hear it from my own voice and think of it from my own context and experiences. I would like to assume that many of you here could instantly give ideas about this topic for this very timely and engaging. I would like to inform as well our audience that from time to time, I will not really have this continuous eye contact with you because I am actually having a glance on my prepared speech. I was actually thinking of memorizing it, but sad to say that my age, or shall we say aging, sometimes could hinder us to memorize things, especially long speech like this. The discussion could actually vary from one person to another. It's quite broad, but I'd like you to know about it from a different perspective, from a different point of view. From a setting where social media, I could say, doesn't flourish yet 100%. From a place where majority of us here doesn't really know about Twitter and Instagram. An island where listening to radio drama still exists at present. Where people just mind sweating to find food and not worry about account notification. Where email address is just a new word if you'd ask most of us. Where social media is understood as Facebook only. It's not actually ignorance for us. It's still the purity of our mind, not knowing the power of social media today. I am Mr. Renan de la Vega Gonzales, a high school teacher in an island school 4 hours away from Iloilo City. I am educating the youth for more than 3 years already, handling the remedial reading program, dropout reduction program, and the school publication. I am also a volunteer radio host to the local radio station of our municipality and runs an educational program called Radyo Eskwela since May. A molder, a writer, teacher journalist, vlogger, and a proud father to my only child. Maybe I have introduced myself very well, and hopefully I could lessen, if not satisfy, your hunger for thoughts this morning. If a teacher asked you, what is the power of social media today? I know that most of you can enumerate some of your ideas and thoughts. And I am encouraging everyone to exercise their democratic prowess later in our open forum. I want you to raise questions, clarifications, arguments, and additional information for our topic. Having a glimpse and remembering 20 years ago, I haven't heard or never in my advanced mind that this platform would thrive and dominate us today. Maybe my third eye or prediction ability wasn't good enough. The narrative may differ from you, and I'd like to remind everyone where I came from. We are just used to pen and paper and patiently wait for a long time to receive replies. I am also a living witness who have seen that envelopes with frames and bars in each side with a logo of an airplane on it. It is actually the memorabilia of my grandmother way back in 90s when she was still an OFW. I was growing watching old classic Filipino movie where a telephone does exist only inside a bumpy television screen. When I was in elementary, few people here get cell phone that is mainly used for texting and calling. It was actually in my high school days when I heard about this Friendster. I think many of us here doesn't know about it. When I was in college, that's when I created my Facebook account. Gradually, I am starting to realize how powerful Facebook is in so many ways. It actually affects a lot of aspects: time, connection, attitude, even ways, culture, and our beliefs. It could unite or divide us. It can build or destroy us. It can help or ruin us. It can even control and drive us. But social media could be meaningless without us, for we are the feeder of it. Come to think of it, I have here a metaphoric example of social media. You have your empty wall. No paint, no designs, no pictures. Then you decide of making it more attractive. You paint it, you make it white, you put stickers on it, you hang pictures, and suddenly it changes. Before, people doesn't notice it. Yet when you alter it, when you put changes into it, they might like it, love it, or care for it. Social media for me runs on the same process. We are the one giving meaning into it. It is the power, its power would just come to life because of its users. And it's up to us on how we navigate ourselves online. Social media is like an empty wall. It remains empty without human inputs. One concrete example is what we are doing right now. We are using social media and its power. But somehow the will given to us could turn negatively even in social media. Last year, my family was a victim of cyber libel and defamation. There was this Facebook account named Lucky DOS, where a true hidden identity, which is a sign of brave cowardness, invented stories and posted it online. Words were really sucking, undignifying, and of trash. We actually brought the case to the cybercrime division in our province, but unfortunately it was not solved. The user was not identified. Now, who is liable for this? Who's liable for this? It's not the platform, but the people behind it. The point here is, we are still the one controlling it. We are still the one who has the power on what we're gonna feed to social media. Create good, post good, and influence good. Mainly, you know that social media is used for communication, connection, entertainment, education, business, and more. Given my perspective about its power and how we used it, do you think is it okay? Or it is okay for us to mock, bully, discriminate, defame, or degrade someone using social media? Of course not. I know that you can hide on a troll account, but always remember this: He sees you. God is not blind. Anyway, let us end that traumatic story. I was actually in a salon one time when I heard these two ladies talking to each other. Lady number one said, and I heard, "Bo Marie, kanami gid balas ang Facebook subong maski wala ko galantaw TV, balaan ko yung gakatabo sa palibot adlaw-adlaw mo." Lady number 2 replied, "Gani man Marie, maki mo sang una dunduman ko nga kadako gid sang gasto ko ug gababad ako sa telepono, makatawag lang niya sa bata ko sagwa. Ti subong pulo kuya ka pesos bala, makapalawig na kuya istorya kag makita ko pa yung itsura sa mga apo ko sa Amerika, and the conversation was ended. Gani Marie, mayo man na maka-Facebook kita This shows how powerful social media is. I give the opportunity to you to digest the conversation. But somehow, in every advantage, meron talagang disadvantage. There are disadvantages brought by this social media. This is just my personal opinion. Instant and less physical connection could also minimize our real human interaction. Though it makes our task easier. That's when you are with your family, yet you feel apart because each one got their own cyber world. That's when you talk to your mother or to your father and you got no response because they are busy and they are focused talking to someone on that little screen. It's when you can't say goodnight to your wife or to your husband because you are entertained by a video online. Do not let its power control us. It is still us who needs to control it. I knew someone who have quit his study because of too much addiction, sad to say, to an online application. I knew someone who left her family just to be with her chatmate. I knew partners who have broke up their relationship because of it. Maybe you knew someone as well. Tell them, it's just an application. You can shut it down. It's just their on screen. What matters is the reality. It is always your power, not its power. Others would use it to make negative things happen. Some would use it in a meaningful way. Not all are real in social media. Remember that. People are fond of modifying posts, emotions, and even stories to make it good and to attract attention. Even its power, it is unreal for me. Because it is still us who moves it. Many of us would always run to social media to express, to get social approval, and to know what other people think about us, think about him. It is a sad reality. It is an inevitable trend. We cannot move backward, but rather accept it by using our critical mind and sound values. It could be addictive if we give much of our focus and attention to it. I've come across a video which says that social media was really designed by what so-called attention engineers, wherein it really targets to get our attention, obviously patterned to some of the addictive games such as casino. We experience it sometimes, just sitting all throughout the day or hours of scrolling on our social media account, even not talking or chatting online. We spent most of our time and we realize that we weren't able to do more important things than that. There is a science explanation saying that the addiction comes from a chemical that is released by our body that triggers us to give a lot of our attention to it, just like our intake of caffeine. But I wouldn't dig deeper into it since I am not the expert on the said field. In terms of social media use, I could say just like other things that we intake much, it will give us unwanted outcome. We can't control it because I myself have tried it. I was able to experience deactivating my Facebook account for 3 months. Yes, 3 months. I was focusing on things in real world, strengthening human contact and real communication. After which, it gave me peace of mind. It takes me from negative things such as fake news, rants, conflicts, unnecessary remarks or comments that I could read every day on my feed. Now talking about fake news, we should always be critical enough in all the stuff that we read online. Let us always analyze, posts that would appear on our screen, by that we won't be fooled to believe on data or information that are not validated. Rants, this is one thing that I'd like to stress for this topic. We sometimes abuse and tend to be irrational on expressing ourselves online. That a simple talk could be directed to the person that we are targeting. Sometimes we are fond of mentioning names. I mean, I am not into suppressing one's freedom of expression. But sometimes, these little things, like, for example, your neighbor doesn't allow you to borrow a gantang of rice. Or someone told you nonsense rumor. Or your neighbor would sing on karaoke not in tune. And you post it online. That doesn't make sense. Why not make it personal? For you not to create this small deal into big deals already. Let us also remember that communication, especially on chat, could create miscommunication. Our emotions, our feelings, our stress on words are not seen on text. And so I am reminding everyone to be more careful in sending messages, conveying feelings, and stating oneself. Be mindful about it most of the time. So much for all this preaching. I'd like to share the power of social media today, specifically in the present situation, having health crisis due to COVID-19. How could you, as a person, as an individual, would initiate things, use your voice with social media to create a worthy impact in the society? Let us watch this video with a spoken word poetry that I myself had actually wrote and voiced for you to at least have a background about this macro effort of an unsung islander and his story of making the power of social media and himself a way to influence and educate people on radio.
5th Congressional winner, 5th Congressional District winner, Kapag-on by Renan D. Gonzales from Talingting National High School, Carles.
Nagtulog ako sang gabi nga to, nga nagahanduraw sang isa kaaga nga ako magabugtaw, kag makita ang akong dagway sa atubang sang kabataan, sa sulod sang apat ka pamusod sang isa ka eskwilahan. Apang ang adlaw nga ako namuklatan, daw halos hindi ko makilalaan, bangod ang tanan nagbag-o sa sining kalibutan, pagbag-o nga hindi maayo bangod ang tanan sa palibot ko, ang nagaantos kag apektado. Wala gid ako nagdahom sa akon makita, daw halos ang tanan nga tawo ang hindi na makilalaan bangod sang takop sa ila itsura nga tanda sang pagpangaman, nga ang alkohol daw kaangay sang tubig nga ginaagawan, kag ang tanan nagadistansya sa tagsa-tagsa nga daw kaangay sang pag-antad sang aton mga planeta. Masubo nga daw kaangay sang bangungot sa kagab-ihon, apang iniisa kadamgo nga ikaw nagabugtaw sa kamaturan, nga ang aton kalibutan nagapangatubang sa kalalatan, kag ang masakit, ang aton kaaway hindi naton makitaan. Gani sa aga nga ina ako ang nanumdom, paano ang ila pag-eskwela? Handa bala ko ang akon kaugalingon lawas kag paminsaron? Handa bala ako sa masunod nga mga inadlaw, kay halos nagalikop sa silak sang adlaw ang inhi nga pagtilaw? Sa sininga kaangtana ng istorya sang isa ka maestro, ang aton pamatian kag tagaan kasayuran, ang iyalihok kag kabakod pagpalangga sa kabataan kag edukasyon, magaserbe nga tema sang sining litanya nga akon ginobra. Sa malayo nga isla sang aton probinsya, may kubos na manunudlo nga nangita ideya, nanumdum sang isa ka programa nga nag-ugat sa iya dako nga paghigugma sa pagtudlo kag pag-eskwela. Sa isa ka estasyon sang radyo siya ang nagpadulong, maisog kag dala ang handom para sa kabataan kag hindi para sa kaugalingon. Ang tuyo nga mabatian sa radyo kag makatudlo sa kahanginan ng iya ginduso kag ginpanindugan, advokasya nga wala sang intensyon nga iban kundi magpundar sang eskwelahan sa kahanginan. Nagmadinalagon kag nahatagan sang tsansa sa iya programa nga ginatawag Radyo Eskwela, programa nga nagahatag sang impormasyon, kinaalam kag edukasyon nga daw kaangay sang eskwelahan sa kahanginan nga para gid sa tanan. Ang iya gusto nga mapabutyag sa tanan nga kabataan nga apisar sang sitwasyon nga aton ginaatubang, ang eskwelahan, ang edukasyon hindi madula sa gihapon. Bangod ang ini nga maestro ang nagakabalaka nga base isa ka adlaw ang mga bata nga iya ginatudluan ang malipat sang kaimportansya sang pagtuon bangod sang sining pagpanghangkat sa mga tinion sa aton. Bulan sang Mayo, Hunyo, Hulyo, Agosto, nagwaragwag sa radyo kag naglanog ang tingog sang sining maestro, mga leksyon sa eskwelahan, mapuslanon nga diskusyon kag pagtalakay sa mga problema ang nahatagan sang atensyon, nalabot ang dulunggan sa mga uhaw sa pagtulunan kag nalipay maski ang mga suki nga tagpalamati sa kahanginan. Apisar sa kabudlay gasto kag kakapoy nga iya ginaatubang, voluntaryo nga pagserbisyo nga wala nagabaton sang maski 5, pagtabok sa kadagatan bangod ang iya puluyan malayo nga isla, pagtaris sa kabanwahanan agud makalabot sa istasyon sang radyo nga iya patulungan. Ang pila lamang ka mga upang nga iya ginsakripisyo sa ngalan sa pagpalangga sa pagtudlo sa inyo. Siya ang nagapadayon sa gihapon tubtob sa karon. Makita siya kung kaisa nga aga pa nagatabok halin sa isla, Sabado takna sa iya programa. Siya kaangay sang bangka nga iya ginasakyan, makalabot sa iya padulungan, kag maski ano nga hampak sang balud sa kalalawran, siya handa ang paminsaron kag malipayon sa pagpanakayon. Utdon ko ang akon istorya sa iya, kag mamangkot, handa ka na bala? Oo, handa na gid siya. Ang adlaw sa pagbukas ng klase mahimo nga naglain na, ang pamaagi hindi na kinaangdan para sa iya. Masubo tungod sa sitwasyon pero malipayon nga magaserbisyo sa kabataan nga Pilipino. Nagapanumpa nga magapadayon sa iya programa sa radyo nga may pag-ulikid kag sinsero sa iya pagkamaestro. Kag nakuha ang akon atensyon sang isa ka puno sang kawayan sa kilid sang baybay nga akon nahamtangan. Ang habagat naghuyok pag ang kawayan ginuyog sang hangin kag halos balion, kag nasulod sa akon paminsaron nga ako daw ikaw, nga sakon anuman nga pagdilaw, unos kag dilubyo ang mag-abot, magabangon sa gihapon nga handa magpakita sa akon palibot, nga ikaw kaangay ko may kusog kag kapag-on, sa tanan nga tinion sa kutob sang masarangan ako magabangon. Handa ka na bala? Kag siya nagsabat sa akon, oo, handa na gid ako. Subong, buwas kag sa palabuton, bangod ako isa ka maestro, maestro para sa batang Pilipino.
Aside from radio platform, I am also doing a live video on Facebook to reach a wide audience. Education would really thrive no matter how hard the situation is. This is just one of the many ways on how we can extend and put power to social media and make it a better vehicle towards progress and success. Post good, create good, spread and share positivities. The world is actually changing. Ride on these changes while carrying your backpack with all the moral disciplines, values, and good attitude. It is still us. It is us who got the real power among all inventions and man-made platforms. And so the decision still lies in our hands. Want to leave this simple line to all of you. In all the things that we are doing every day, let us always do what's best and good for everybody. Good morning once again, and God bless us all.